Hey guys, what's up? Have you ever wondered how everybody is making this money on using AI tools, right? And you're just trying to figure out like how are they able to do it? I see it happening. I hear about it, but how are they able to do it? Today, I'm going to dive into this presentation and show you guys exactly potentially how if you would take the steps that are here and utilize some of these prompts, you can also do it too, right? And how ChatGPT was able to revamp my whole to-do list. I know I have used ChatGPT in a lot of different areas of my business as well as my life, even down to zodiac sign, right? If you do your birth chart, natal chart, it can really define a lot of different things and be able to provide a lot of in-depth information, especially if you use it, right? So let's just dive right into his presentation so you guys can get a visual or at least some form of an understanding of how you could potentially do this yourself, right? So using ChatGPT to overhaul a to-do list unlocks a smarter, more dynamic approach to task management, making it easier to stay organized, prioritize, and actually get things done, right? Especially, so, a lot of people like to have checklists, right? Or to-do lists because it just makes things so much easier when you're going throughout your day and you just want to knock things out. Okay, well, I have X, Y, Z to do. Let me do X, Y, Z, right? What's more important? That's the first thing that I'm going to do. I think Brian Tracy had a book called Eat That Frog, right? And the whole pretense of the book was, doing the most important thing first, right? So this is where ChatGPT can really help you guys in scaling your business or any aspect of your life. Right? So by leveraging ChatGPT's dedicated task features, right? Again, ChatGPT, as well as a lot of these other big, large language models, Claude AI, Gemini, they all have these features. So it's really important that you just play with it, right? Dive in and see what features can best suit you. Right. So for me, it was automation of reminders, right? Because you want to be able to have it, break down a lot of the things that are just mundane tasks, whether it be emails, whether it be, checking, that everybody signed in the right time, Zoom calls, whatever it may be for your business and your specific, industry or situation, you can utilize ChatGPT for. Or they have task breakdowns, right? You can use it for and breaking down complex goals into achievable steps and get suggested next actions to maintain momentum and reduce being overwhelmed. I mean, in this day and age, we're all overwhelmed, right? So if you can break things down, even just doing one thing today and then something else and then something else and then continuing that momentum, it's going to take you worlds and leap years ahead of a lot of people, 99% of the people out there, because they're not doing that, right? And you want to do smart prioritization. So that's sorting tasks by priority, like I mentioned before, right? You want to do the biggest and hardest tasks first, because that's when you have the most glycogen, the most energy, first thing in the morning or the first thing when you wake up. Because as the day progresses, you get tired, right? And you really don't want to do that anymore. And we tend to put the easy things first and do the harder things later. And the harder things always get pushed to the side. So you can avoid that. So step one, right? You want to rebuild around profit pillars. So what are profit pillars? Profit pillars is going to be, those foundational things that you need in your business that you're going to be building around, right? Such as audience, offers, assets, sales, operations, right? These are hats that for solopreneurs, you already know you're wearing multiple hats, right? So it's important for you to know what your profit pillars are. This way you're able to kind of work around it. Okay, my audience, task focus on building and engaging your target market. Who's your target market? Your offer, what's your offer? Right, your assets. What assets are you? So what are the things that you're going to be selling? Right, sales. What are the things from the assets that you need for sales in order for you to generate the revenue you're looking for? And then the operations. What are the is everything cohesive and working together? What are the things that are not working together so that we can make them all cohesive? Let me move my head out the way. Actually, let's shrink this because there's a lot of information on the page, right? And this is where you utilize the ChatGPT prompt. And remember, it says ChatGPT prompt, but you could put this prompt in any AI, right, model and just adjust it to your specific situation. So step one, profit pillars. You definitely want to work on that. Step two, build your monetization asset stack, right? Going back to the assets. Okay, remember, you need assets in order to fill it into the sales pipeline, right? So what's going to be the assets? You have your lead magnet, right? A lead magnet is an asset. you can send that out for emails, and you can send that out for just as a free offer. You can sell a lead, you can sell a free, you can't sell a free lead magnet, but you can pretty much give it away as your value proposition, right? And you have low ticket templates, AI to-do lists. This template you'll be priced between $19 and $39 for a quick conversion, especially if you're providing immense value, right? People will pick this up. If they expect, or if it's something that they really need right now, they will definitely pick that up, right? So that's another great way of getting emails or getting building up your funnel to be able to sell higher ticket products later on. Right? Then you have then you could create a core mini course. I know you heard this before. If everybody specializes in something, so you can definitely create a mini course in it. All it takes is getting some slides together. If you're more for visual, then create some videos together and packaging it up, and that's your mini course. And then you have the high touch cohort, right? This can be one-on-one support that you're selling, if you're in that space, coaching or anything else. Or this can be selling somebody else's coaching program, right? It could be selling, it could be affiliate for Tony Robbins. You could be affiliate for, like a Ty Lopez or, or any one of them out there, and a Dan Fleshman, and be able to sell their products and make, substantial amounts of money from $300 all the way up to $1,000. Right? So this is the prompt that you want to throw into ChatGPT. Draft a one-page offer strategy for, fill it in, and again, adjust these prompts. This is going to be in the description below, so you're going to have access to all this slide in itself. So you'll be able to, copy these prompts, put them into any one of the AIs that you use, and again, adjust it to your preferences, right? Cool. Step number 3, right? You want to turn tasks into shippable products. What is that? What does that mean? Remember, those are the assets that we were talking about earlier on in the slides, right? So what are these assets? You have to know what your assets are. You have to know who your audience is. You have to know what your offer is. Like, you should have a good idea. And I'm kind of going through all of this pretty fast, but you should really have a good idea of your profit pillars, because you want to start there. Right? Then once you have a good idea of that, everything else will kind of fall in line, because you're setting everything else up. Right now you're in the back office, right? So viewers don't want motivation, right? They want a plug and play system. They've tried apps before, none created money momentum. Your AI to-do list becomes a solution they've been searching for. Whatever it is, whatever that problem is, your product needs to be the solution everyone is searching for, period, right? People pay for solutions. They pay for solutions to their problems. They pay for solutions. They'll pay for convenience. They'll pay for, support. If it's something that's going to benefit them, people will pay for that. Don't just make this up out of your mind, right? You want to make sure it's something, you're serving a problem that is trending, that is actively searched for online, so that that once you create this, it's going to be profitable for you. Or, if not hugely profitable, you'll be able to at least, build up your asset class, which would be emails. That's the next really important. If you're not getting sales, emails is the next important, right? So the template components, you want your daily, big 3 priority fields, you want your ICE or RICE scoring columns, it's just scoring columns that they have on spreadsheets. You want your pillar, categorization tags, right? You want to have all of this put together when you create these templates, because these are what people are looking for. I don't need to go down the list of everything, because you guys should already, again, anybody who's watching this should kind of already have an idea of what they're looking for, unless you're a beginner. And if you're a beginner, I definitely say start with, building digital product, learning about digital products. And what's a digital product? A digital product is anything that is downloaded digitally. Create an ebook, a to-do list, a checklist, anything like that. A digital imagery that you can download, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do if you're a beginner. Here's the prompt that's at the bottom, the ChatGPT prompt. Again, don't get so caught up with it saying ChatGPT. This is just the video that I've created for ChatGPT. Surrounding ChatGPT, but you can use these prompts in any one of the large language models, because that's what I do. Cool. Step four, the 7-day launch plan. So, you want to follow the hero's journey. Okay, I started with nothing. Hero's journey. What's the hero's journey? That's any Marvel, DC movie, any movie that you see. Pretty much, if you're a movie buff, like I am, I love movies. It's the hero's journey that they're discussing, right? The person who didn't think they were anybody, became the superhero to save the day. Right? The one who had the worst self-worth, found all the self-esteem, right? So you want to have that hero's journey. Okay, I was doing this, I was working this job. It was, it's 9 to 5. It was really wasn't, it was suffocating my life. It was something I was not passionate about. Then, I read a book, and then I found my passion and I just started pursuing it. And, ever since then, I found that, I wanted to help other people and be, and provide as much value as I can. The hero's journey, right? These are the stories that, again, it's all the same basis. It's just different stories being told by different people. So you can tell your own, right? So day one, the foundation, get a brain dump, because again, this is what AI is for. Get a brain dump, of all the ideas, just kind of spit it out at ChatGPT or spit it out at Gemini, and then that's what's called brain dumping. And then let them give you back, some ideas as to if this is valid or it's not. They're going to let you know, is this a valid idea or not, right? Day two, you want to have your lead magnet. Create a lead magnet in Google Docs or in your Notion to be able to, you can sell it like a low ticket item, or you can use it as your free offer, right? And then you have your in the day three, you have your templates. You want to build and upload the templates, to either Gumroad, PayHip, or Shopify, right? Because this is where you're going to be selling your products. Or, there are a lot of different ones. There's WAP, there's a lot of different ones. I'm really keeping it small because I don't want to overwhelm. And then you have day four, right? Your content, you would record your YouTube videos, of course your shorts, and then you can repurpose them, right? Of course, to all the social media platforms. That's not what this talk is about today. So we're just going to focus on this. Day five, your email sequences, as people come into your free funnel, they sign up, they put it in their email. Now you have email. Now you can build an email list, and then now it's emails that you're going to be sending them to. Day six, affiliate. Now, within those emails, you're going to be putting your affiliate link and, potentially, again, growing your business, right? Because, if there's something that they're interested in, if you started off well with the free offer that, and what people are interested in, then you should find affiliate products to support that. And then there's launch day, and then you want to be able to launch, run a workshop, run a YouTube premiere, run live, and tell everybody, this is what's happening. This is the business that I've created. Here's how I'm here to support. And here's a solution to this problem. I'm here to support you. And, use the prompt at the bottom to be able to, help you craft all of these things together. Because sometimes there's a lot of components, right? So to do it ourselves, it could be a little bit overwhelming. This is where AI comes in. It's really helpful, right? Step three. Oh, I'm going backwards. Sorry. Step five, right? You want your content engine that sells while you sleep. Move your head out the way, Jace. Cool, yeah. So you want to build a systematic content approach using, your hook, your value call, your call to action structure, right? As you guys should already know, what's your hook? Have you ever experienced, the kind of thing, I tried this for 3 days and this is what happened. Like, you want that viral hook, and then your value core, okay? And this is how this supports XYZ, call to action. If you want to learn more, click the link here. It's really, I'm making it really simple. You'd have to definitely test and work on it because, this right here is what's going to drive the attention and the traffic in. So you definitely want to work on it. I'm just making it really simple just so that you can get an idea, right, for this video too. I don't want to make the video too long. So you want to create content that demonstrates your transformation and drives consistent sales through strategic call to actions, right? So long form content, create a YouTube video if you're into that. If not, just create short form content. A lot of people are blowing up on social media, on short form content, social media short form content. So, long form is for long term because YouTube is a long term game plan, but short form content, is those quick wins. You definitely want those quick wins. Like I was mentioning, the short form content, and then social distribution. You have a number of different platforms to put it on, right? TikTok, whether it be here today or going tomorrow, we don't know, but you always have IG, you have Facebook, you have Pinterest, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, you have, there's a number of different ones out there, and there's going to be more coming out. You have Blue Sky, you have Threads, and there's going to be more coming out in the future, right? So just stay abreast of that. And consistent call to actions, right? Grab my free 7-day AI to-do list, reset, right? So this is going to keep the funnel filled with people interested in what you have to offer, right? Use this prompt at the bottom, right? To be able to, again, to generate those ideas, to give you a visual of what may work, what may not work, tweak it and have it suitable for you. All right, step 6. I think my head is in 3. Step 6, the email equals profit through storytelling, right? So your email sequence transforms subscribers into customers through strategic storytelling, right? Each email builds trust, provides value, and moves prospects closer to a purchase. If anybody ever seen those, the images of, those funnels, that's pretty much what it is. You get them in the funnel, the free offer, you nurture them, and then you try to get them to, either get a sale, if not a sale, maybe get into another offer, if not get into that, or always have a customer long term. You want that lifetime value customer, especially with the emails. So how's it go? It goes with the origin story, how ChatGPT now, right? It's like right now, after this video, use these prompts. This is my quick win to you, right? Use these prompts. You'll see for yourself how they're going to help. Right? Then you can use a case study if you have one already of yourself or someone else, right? And then the objection crusher. I tried Notion, it didn't stick. Show me. There's going to be a lot of people who've been through, a lot of things that they tried and it didn't work for them at that time, right? That doesn't necessarily mean they can't revisit it, and it may work now. Like such as myself, I've tried things before. It didn't really work out then, but then I revisited it and it worked, right? Maybe because I just needed to learn longer, or maybe when I went back into it, I was already abreast of how it worked. Who knows, right? But it worked, right? And then the urgency call, okay, this is closing soon, or this is not going to be available for long, give a little bit of urgency just so that people, sign up. Because again, everybody's really fickle, the attention span of a goldfish kind of thing. So you got to be quick with it, grab their attention and keep it pushing. Right? Use this prompt at the bottom. Again, I'm going to provide this so you guys will have it. Step 7, right? The affiliate and the sponsor revenue layer, right? So you want to be able to have your affiliates, like I mentioned, depending on whatever you're offering. This was just an example. Do not offer this. This may not be a trending topic. It was just an example, but find something that's trending, something that you're interested in, and then also have affiliate links that support it. Right? Don't be providing something for Facebook and you're selling and your affiliate links are for diet products, right? Make sure they're cohesive. Productivity apps, for this instance right here, productivity apps and software, hacks, hardware, workspace tools, educational resources and courses, like things that that will support what we're discussing right here, right? So exactly the same thing. You wanted to support it. And there's a prompt at the bottom. I saw myself, and before I forget and move on, use this prompt, right, to be able to kind of direct you to the best affiliate products or tools or softwares that you should be promoting. All right, step 8, right? This is getting pretty long. High touch upsell strategy, right? So your upsell strategy. Once you start to nurture and you've got, now let's hypothetical, right? They've gone through they got the free lead magnet. They're on the email list. We've been sending them emails. They may have purchased a low ticket item from us just to test us out. They're still feeling us. We're nurturing them. Now we have a high ticket offer we want to sell, like $1,000 offer. $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. It really doesn't matter, right? It's a higher ticket offer, right? Which is going to be a little bit more time in the sales process, not necessarily a longer sales, but just a little bit more time. But it won't be that much time because they already know, like, and trust you, right? So you have live sessions. This is a higher ticket offer, right? You have checklist reviews. You have accountability partners. You're offering premium offers, right? That's really where it's at right now, because you've gotten them nurtured and you're trying to get them into a higher ticket. You may not necessarily get them to a $50,000 ticket, right? Workshop that somebody is doing, but you could potentially get them to a $500 course. You could potentially get them to a $300 offer, right? So think along those terms. Results guarantee. Ship it. Show all of the testimonials, all of the positive reviews of whatever it may be, right? To give them that, that confidence to say, you know what, yeah, I can do this too, right? And there's a prompt at the bottom of this that you can use. It's going to be able to help you. So step 9, you want to measure and improve your flywheel, right? Again, what's your flywheel? That's everything we've created, and we want it to just be turning, profitably, profitably. So, measure and improve your flywheel. Success requires systematic measurements and continuous optimization. So use ChatGPT to analyze your metrics and identify highest impact experiments for revenue growth, right? So what were you doing that was bringing in the most revenue, and what were you doing that was not, right? Whatever you were doing that was not, cut it, right? You want to be able to double down on whatever was bringing you the most revenue impact within their experiments, right? Because again, we're always testing. So it's testing your key metrics. You're tracking weekly, revenue, click-through rates, opt-ins, template sales, things of that nature. The top experiments, you want to focus on the highest leverage improvements each week, right? And 24 hours to results. Rapid iteration, cycles for continuous improvement. You want to always be going through things fast, right? Not fast. Haste makes waste, but fast meaning that if you see that it's not working, cut it fast, move on, do something else. Don't fall in love with something because you like it, but the customer doesn't. So here's the money math, and I wanted to break down so you guys can get a visual of the money math, right? So based on 100,000 monthly views, say you got your YouTube and you got your or your Facebook, or you got it to 100,000 views, but we're specifically talking about YouTube right now, right? With a mix of long and short form videos, right? So here's the realistic revenue breakdown table that consistently hits 5 figures more. Right? Cool. So you have the AdSense. If you had depending on how much you're getting for the niche that you're in, that would determine how much you'll be getting paid through ad. That's from your YouTube videos. Then you have your template sales. That's that low ticket, right? You have that low ticket offer that's still getting sales, so that's bringing in money, generating income. Then you have your mini course, right? Everybody's jumping on the mini course, loving the mini course. They're still in your emails, so you still have an asset. Right? Now you have the cohort and the one-on-ones, and that this is going to be like if you're doing coaching and you want to get them into a higher ticket offer and they needed help, and you have that to provide. This is where a lot of people create a school for SKOOL, the schools, because this is how they funnel you in to a lot of their higher ticket offers, right? You get into the mini course, you like it, you get into some of the other templates, you love it, and then you get into their higher ticket offer. And then you also have affiliate tools that you're promoting through your email, right? So this is how I was able to generate $10K a month, and how a lot of other people are making $50,000, $100,000 a month doing exactly this. Cool. So this is the breakdown. Again, this video went longer than I wanted it to, but when it's a slideshow, it's kind of in a mini course that I wanted to put together for free for you guys. I just wanted you to get a visual of how you can go about doing this, right? I know you hear about it. I know you get a lot of strategies out there. I'm a YouTube buff myself, so you get a lot of strategies, you get a lot of techniques, but sometimes it's just like, okay, like what's the breakdown to that? If you're a practical person like myself, how do you break all of this down and apply it systematically, right? Not just a strategy that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. So here's your 7-day action plan checklist, right? Again, I'm going to provide this for you, so you'll have this in your tool belt. So you want to copy this exact checklist into your AI to-do list. Again, this is quote AI to-do list. This is going to be AI, fill in the blank. AI, a faceless channel. AI, whatever it may be, productivity, whatever it is that you're doing, fill in the blank, right? This is just, again, an overview. So Monday, you have the foundation, you have your brain dump, you have your pillar sort, you're going to pick your biggest three, the big threes, right? That we mentioned from earlier. Okay, what we're going to be doing today to get to that 10K task, right? Then we have Tuesday, we have our lead magnet, we want to draft all that, get all that done so that we're able to, get that ready to send all that out to everybody for when they're ready to click on that link, right? Wednesday, you have your product launch, you created a small template that you're ready to sell to everybody. You can upload that to a platform. You send that also in the lead magnet emails that they're coming through from the lead magnet, because it's free. Now you can send this. We also have this template, right? That's going to be complimentary to that lead magnet. Then you have the content creation. You want to be creating a content, consistently, one long form a week, short forms every day, because you want the attention, right? YouTube is getting billions of videos uploaded every day. So you need to be on top of everybody's mind in your industry if you're trying to, get them on your list. Then you have your email systems that you're going to be writing and queuing up for sequences, and five email welcome sequences. Some people do more, some people do less, right? None of this is written in stone. This was just like an overview. Some people do 7, some people do 2, right? So find out what's best for your industry and work around that. Then you have your partnership, right? The affiliate links that you're going to be adding to the emails that you're going to be doing. So you want to partner up with the right ones, right? And then you have your launch day, and then now this is going to be a live that you go on. This is how you're going to be expressing it to everybody, how you're going to be growing your business. This is what I want to be doing. And once all of this is set up, you don't have to do this again. Now it's going to go into the next stage of, watching your KPIs, tracking, making sure everything is running smooth and operational, testing out, other lead magnets, other templates, finding more affiliate offers, right? It just goes into another stage, but this is where it really starts. It starts your foundation for you to grow your business, and you'll be able to scale quick and fast, man, especially with AI, right? So this was really just my brain dump in the spreadsheet format. So to show you guys of how you're able to, pull this all together and build your business, and use AI. That's what AI is there for. It doesn't matter the model, right? I think some people are more it's really based on preferences. Some people prefer, ChatGPT, some prefer Gemini, some prefer Claude AI, some prefer Copilot, some prefer Gonk, some prefer, so there's so many out there. I prefer what works. Right? I use them all. It doesn't matter. Whatever I'm feeling that day, that's what I'm gonna go with. Right? Some are better than others in other aspects, but I just use them all. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing fantastic as always. I always have videos coming out. I'm trying to stick on a schedule. Before I was doing them every day. I'm gonna try to stick to the schedule of 3 times a week because I think that works best for me. You're always gonna get shorts for me. I like to play with different tools. So if you see AI tools coming out with shorts and put my voice on it, that's gonna be me, right? Those are the things I like to just to give you more of entertaining visuals, right? Shorts should be more entertaining. Get a little boring when you just see my face. These are more so for the courses that I'm creating. But I hope you guys are doing fantastic and stay strong, stay solid, stay dangerous.